Folks, welcome to an all new episode of So Bad It's Good. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Wednesday episode. You have made it halfway through the week, and I think we're like halfway through the year. My God, that has gone quick. Wow. Well, anyway, welcome to the show. We got a great guest today. Joy Alicia is here. She has a new book out all about dating. I am very goofy in this interview, but it was a lot of fun. So hopefully you will enjoy it too. We've had a great week of shows so far. Sophie Ross on Monday and the fabulous Doug Buden yesterday. My God, I love that dude. And then last week, I forgot I talked to, I do so many of these. You're like, wait a sec, did I talk to Mama June and Honey Boo Boo last week? And I'm like, yeah, I did. Last Friday. I'm sure there are so many episodes it's hard to keep up, but go back and check some of those out. I was like, did that happen? Or did I dream that? I went and looked and it's like, no, I did interview Mama June and Honey Boo Boo. Anyways, crazy. I'll be on Jeff Lewis this morning with Phaedra Parks. I'm very, very excited about that. And then I don't know if I told you guys this. I think me and Doug talked about this at the end of the interview yesterday. But this Saturday or Sunday, we are going to Vegas. It's my first influencer trip. I use that loosely. And our pal Liat, she has this great podcast, Heal to Feel, but she has this product called Interior, these like juices, these drinks. I'm drinking one right now with cilantro, fenugreek, turmeric, broccoli, mint, apple, and bioactive complex. So it fits into my health journey. But I got chosen to go with like 9 other chumps. So it's me, Joey Zauzig, Doug Buden, Crystal Minkoff, Jeff Lewis, Shane Douglas, Mercedes Javid, Liat. And then I was told today, Shannon Bedore is going to be there. Oh, also Reza Farahan, and Shannon Bedore is going to be there. So I'm going to spend Sunday with Shannon Storms Bedore. But it's crazy, you guys. These influencer trips. I've never really been on one. I've been doing like cool things the last couple of years, or been invited to some cool things, but never like an influencer trip. This is only like a day. They're flying us in a private jet, and we get to Vegas. We check in, there's like a pool function thing, and then we like eat lunch there, and then there's some downtime, and then we have like a nice dinner, and then we have like private gambling. Like, there's like a thing they're doing, like a floor with private gambling, and they're giving us some money to gamble with, and I'm going to finally learn how to play craps and roulette. As you know, if you listen, the only game I know how to play in Vegas is Wheel of Fortune slot machine. That will not be there. It'll only be table games. And that'll be great because I can learn. I always feel so much pressure when I'm in Vegas at any of those tables. I don't even, because I'm scared I'm going to screw up, but they're going to have somebody teaching us how to play these things. So I'm kind of excited. And then we get up the next morning on Monday, we do the radio at the Sirius XM studios in Vegas, and then we fly back. I can't wait to tell you guys all about it. I'm sure there's going to be craziness. And I'm going to try to continue my health journey and not make chunky choices, as Jeff would say. I'm going to make healthy choices. I'm going to make healthy choices, and I'm going to try to do this. But I'm not really, I hate to say this out loud, but I'm not really an influencer, and I'm not good at like walking and talking to a camera. I'm good at, like, I like this. I'm good at podcasting, but I see these. I've been trying to like study on TikTok, and I just don't think I just don't know if I can do it. So, but anyways, I'm excited to try. I'm excited to get to go. I was talking to Crystal Minkoff today, and she has a whole family and stuff. And I was like, I'm just excited to get out of the house. It's like, it's just an opportunity because I don't really, I like to kind of stay in my little cave, and it'll be nice to get out of the cave for a day. And I'll take you guys with me and tell you all about it. So I'm excited about that. Let's talk some TV. Now, tonight we had episode 10 of The Valley. Hey, guess what I'm about to say? Another dark episode. Now, come back on Thursday for our Valley recap. okay, so Thursday's episode is going to be supersized. I might have to break it up into 2 parts because I'm going to do the recap, but there's a lot of other news. Jax was on Watch What Happens Live tonight. Kate Arthur did an amazing article in Variety about the future of the Valley. And there's so many little tidbits. I have found Jax's mental health facility. We will be talking about that. Also, in tonight's episode of the Valley, Jax's burner account was revealed, his Finsta account. And I watched the episode early. And so I had already gone to, this is great. I had already gone to his Finsta account. And his Finsta account followed 232 people. Now, once that episode was released today, that account follows 0 people. But I am not smart in my normal life, but sometimes I'm smart when I do this kind of stuff because I screenshotted all the follows. I screenshotted everybody Jax's Finsta followed on that account. And you guys, there's some good ones. So that will be in Thursday's episode. So we are doing a Supersize the Valley recap. And I know, listen, I get it. It's a dark show. You might not want to live in that darkness, but I'm going to try to make it funny. I'm going to try to, but I think there's going to be some good information. So I'm telling you, I'm usually not cocky like this, but I'm telling you, come back for that Valley recap and all of the Valley news. I think it's interesting, and I think we can laugh at some of the things, and I think we can figure out some things as a family in regards to the Valley and where they're going with season 3, which goes back into production, I believe, in August. In other TV news, Hulu just reminded us of their summer programming schedule. And I was going through some of these and seeing which ones I think would interest you guys and me. And June 25th is one of the first ones, and that is the 4th season of The Bear. And it's going to be all 10 episodes released at once. Remember, season 3 came and went. And season 3, I think, had some great moments. But overall, I think it was a little more... it faltered in places that the first 2 seasons didn't. And it kind of left with the cliffhanger where is Carmi's restaurant going to get reviewed well, or is it going to be a piss poor review? There's no way it's going to be a good review. It's going to be a piss poor review. I feel like they're eventually just going to turn it back into like a sandwich shop or something. But we'll find out on June 25th. All 10 episodes will be released. And then on July 2nd, we have the 2nd season of Nicole Kidman's 9 Perfect Strangers. I mean, this is Hulu's answer to The White Lotus. I have not seen the first season. It's like me with podcasting. It's hard to keep up with Nicole Kidman because she works so much. I've talked about this so many times. She does at least like 7 TV series and 8 movies a year. And then AMC spots, like, welcome to the movies. It's me, Nicole Kidman. But anyways, it comes out on July 2nd, 9 Perfect Strangers. And then the next one that I thought was kind of interesting is, this is great, actually. I was a huge fan of the cartoon King of the Hill, which used to be on Fox. And weirdly enough, my dad loves King of the Hill. And so they have rebooted King of the Hill. And this is going to be its season 14 of this show. There's going to be 10 episodes. And I think they're going to all be released at once. And a lot of the same voice cast is coming back, but they're older now. Time has passed. So you have an older Hank Hill. You have Bobby, who is grown up. And I'm very, very excited about this. And remember, Mike Judge is one of the creators of King of the Hill. And Mike Judge, I mean, God, Beavis and Butthead, Office Space. I mean, Idiocracy. That's that movie with Luke Wilson. We live in Idiocracy right now. So that's going to be great. So that comes out. And then for my sci-fi nerds out there like myself, August 12th, we have a new FX series, Alien Earth, which is part of the Alien franchise. It's 1 season. There's going to be 8 episodes. August 12th, 2 episodes will launch on that day. And then every week there will be an episode for the next 6 weeks. And this is going to take place in the year 2120. And the Earth is governed by 5 corporations: Prodigy, Wayland Yutani, Lynch, Dynamic, and Threshold. In this corporate era, cyborgs and synthetics exist alongside humans, but the game has changed when the Wonderkin founder and CEO of Prodigy Corporation unlocks a new technological advancement: hybrids. The first hybrid prototype named Windy marks a new dawn in the race for immortality. After Weyland-Yutani's spaceship collides into Prodigy City, Windy and the other hybrids encounter mysterious life forms more terrifying than anyone could have ever imagined. And this stars Timothy Olyphant. I love Timothy Olyphant. Did you ever watch him on that TV show Justified? My God, he was good in that. So I'm excited to see that. And then August 20th, this is interesting. It's called The Twisted Tale of Amanda Knox. And I think everybody knows the Amanda Knox story, right? And this is a limited series where Grace Van Patten, the actor, is playing Amanda Knox. And 2 episodes will be released on August 20th, and then an episode weekly after that for the next 6 weeks. And then in terms of documentaries, this premieres June 23rd, which I think that's like next week. Barbara Walters' Tell Me Everything. And this is a feature-length documentary about the life of Barbara Walters and how she was a trailblazer for women in the news. She broke the glass ceiling for female news reporters. I'm a kid that grew up with Barbara Walters. Remember all of her, like the Barbara Walters specials? And like, I think it was sometimes after the Oscars, and she'd interview all like the big famous actors. And she's like, tell me, I can't do her accent. I just remember Baba Wawa. Remember Sherry O'Terry on Saturday Night Live did a great Barbara Walters impersonation. But I geeked out as a kid. So Barbara Walters, I can't wait to see this. I'm excited. So anyways, Hulu, great. And also, we talked about this on Monday with Sophie Ross, and I said that Alex Cooper from Call Her Daddy is doing a new reality dating show for Hulu. And remember, her 2-part docuseries just came out on Hulu this past week. And I got more information about this because Alex Cooper did an interview with Dak Shepard on the Armchair Expert podcast. And we got more information. She is actually not hosting the show. She just created and is producing the show. And it's like all these like people wanting to find love on a yacht. So she teased that they've got a host and the host is great and she can't wait to tell everybody. And internet sleuths have been trying to figure out who the host is if it's not Alex Cooper. And somebody actually on TikTok, I saw this, had a pretty good guess, and that it's Gabby Windy from The Traitors. I mean, she's obviously done the Bachelor and just is hysterically funny in all of her social media. But I think she had a breakout season on The Traitors, and she would be a really interesting pick to host a dating competition series. So Gabby Windy, and also they're filming this in Malta. And Gabby Windy posted something randomly from Malta, but Gabby Windy does not follow Alex Cooper or Call Her Daddy on her Instagram. Now, is this something that is thought ahead where it's like, don't follow us because we don't want to give away clues that you're actually the host? I don't know. So that is one thought. I don't know. What do you guys think? Have you thought anything about this? Or is this how I'm wasting my life? Cool. Okay, and finally today, before we get to our guest, I was trying to find ways to make myself laugh because, we're potentially on the brink of World War III right now. It's just not great, which, by the way, you guys, let's have fun here, but also let's pay attention to the news out there and what is going on and how we can help and try to make this a better place to live in. But I was trying to make myself laugh, and so I was looking at celebrity weird conspiracy theories, and I want you guys to let me know or put in your head if you think this is true or not. These are some outlandish and some are true stories about celebrities. And so our first one is about Beyonce. And Beyonce allegedly travels with a custom-built, temperature-controlled refrigerator strictly for her personal stash of fancy cheeses, most notably goat Gouda. And then on top of that, there were rumors that her former bodyguard was fired for touching the cheese without permission. Now, is this true or false? Okay, this is actually false. Beyonce does not travel with a personal stash of fancy cheeses. Also, have you seen her? There's no way she's able to eat cheese right now. Like, she is so in shape. I have not had cheese in 45 days, and it is killing me. But there's no way she's traveling around with a bunch of cheese. And no, her bodyguard, so that is completely false. Okay, let's do another one. Nicolas Cage's haunted dinosaur skull. At one point, Nicolas Cage outbid Leonardo DiCaprio for a $276,000 dinosaur skull at auction, only to find out it was stolen from Mongolia, and he had to give it back, but not before claiming that it had brought a weird energy into his house. Is this true? Did Nick Cage once own a big old dinosaur skull? That is true. That is not false. That is true. This actually happened. And don't feel bad for Leonardo DiCaprio, because he actually got another dinosaur skull. And that's one of the reasons why they call him Dino Bones. Or Dumois calls him Dino Bones sometimes. So there's plenty of dino bones to go around. But this actually is true. Now here's the one. Taylor Swift's janitor disguise. So Taylor Swift once left her New York City apartment inside a janitor's rolling cart to avoid paparazzi. There's a photo of two security guards awkwardly pushing a suspiciously Swift-sized box. Is this true or false? This is true and false. This incident is false, but Taylor Swift did hide in a big old custom made, like, it looks like janitor, like a whole janitor thing that a janitor pushes, and there's like mops on the top, and she would use this for at all of her stadium shows on the Eras tour, where she would be pushed out to get to the stage so that nobody knew it was her. But then people caught on during the Eras tour and then eventually knew. I mean, also, isn't that funny? You sell out like 80,000 seat like stadiums, and you're having to get to the actual stage in like a cramped janitor, like a custom-made janitor box. Come on. But, you know, you do what you got to do. Now, this is next one. Lady Gaga's ghost detector. Lady Gaga dropped $50,000 on an electromagnetic field reader to detect ghosts on tour. She believes in a specific ghost named Ryan, who follows her from hotel to hotel. Ooh, it's not me, you guys. So this allegedly is true from before 2010. And the Ryan is not a spirit, actually, but that's another story where she was actually just stalked by a guy named Ryan. Once again, not me. Here's one. Oprah's bathtub obsession. Oprah has a custom bathtub sculpted to the shape of her body out of hand-carved marble. She once said, "Bathing is my hobby." True or false, you guys? Okay, that is true. Oprah does have a carved out, like like a carved out marble bathtub that is designed around the shape of her body. That is wealth, folks. Oprah. Nice. Here's one. Shailene Woodley, actress Shailene Woodley eats clay. Shailene once told a reporter she eats clay to detox her body and gets her vitamin D by sunbathing her vajayjay. True or false? This is true. Yeah, this is true. Shailene Woodley has spoken publicly about eating clay as part of her detoxification diet. She claims that clay helps her body excrete toxins and heavy metals. She has also said that clay binds to other materials in the body and helps with alkalinity and acid reduction, as well as fighting harmful bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella. Get the F out of town, Shailene. My God, I can't believe this one is true. Also, I'm trying to detox. Should I eat? What if we eat clay together? Would that be a good TikTok video if I just eat clay? Let's try it. Anyways, folks, that's our beginning of the show, a little mini roundup. I hope you guys have the best Wednesday possible. And like I said earlier, you made it halfway through the week, so you already did something with your life. You did it. You came this far. Let's do another 2 days so we can get us to the weekend, right? And now here is our guest. This is great. Her name is Alicia Joy. We talk all about her new book, which I mentioned in the opening. Go out and support. She is a baddie. She emailed us, and I just thought, yeah, let's have her on. And I read her book, and it was really funny, and it's all about dating. And what I love these interviews where I've never talked to somebody before, and you get to kind of, find out what they're all about. And also, we don't just talk about her book. We talk about Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. We talk about reality TV. We go all around the map. So I hope you enjoy this interview. Here she is, the one and only Alicia Joy. Bye, guys. Guys, I am not big on trends, but I am big on clothes that feel good and last. I keep things for years at a time, and that's why I keep going back to Quince. Their lightweight layers and high-quality staples have become my everyday essentials. I use this stuff, and you should too. In fact, I pulled out, for those of watching on YouTube, my beautiful navy breathable Quince sports jacket. Are you kidding me? I just wore it this week. In fact, I lost a couple LBs so I could finally fit back into it. I'm so excited. Quince has all the things that you actually want to wear this summer, like organic cotton silk polos, European linen beach shorts, and comfortable pants that work for everything from backyard hangs to nice dinners. And the best part, everything with Quince is half the cost of similar brands. If you don't believe me, go directly to their website. They work directly with top artisans and cut out the middleman. Quince gives you luxury pieces without the markups. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabric and finishes. Guys, I even have socks from Quince. I love the color navy blue. I have like a navy blue button-up shirt. I've bought jewelry from Quince for my sister. Everybody gets something from Quince if you're in my life. So stick to the staples that last with elevated essentials from Quince. Go to QUINCE.com/SOBAD for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/SOBAD to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/SOBAD. Have you ever walked into a grocery store and you had no idea what to get? I do that all the time. So I've stopped wasting time at the grocery store and I stopped staring at their gigantic wall of wines. I never knew what to pick, and that's why I love our next sponsor, Naked Wines. They are amazing. This podcast is sponsored by Naked Wines. It's 2025. Do you still shop for wine like it's 2005? Naked Wines is a service that directly connects you to the world's finest independent winemakers so you can get award-winning wine delivered straight to your door. Use our code SOBAD for the code and password at nakedwines.com and get their incredible deal of 6 bottles for just $39.99. We just cracked open a bottle a couple weeks ago and we were like just playing a bunch of music, and it was the most perfect night, and I didn't even have to leave my home. And all you have to do is go on their website and you even fill out what you like, and they send you a beautiful selection. With no commitments or membership fees, you can enjoy Naked Wines hassle-free. And don't forget, this is huge. You can pause or cancel at any time. So just because you got a trip coming up doesn't mean you can't enjoy Naked Wines before or after that much-needed vacation. So now is the time to join the Naked Wines community. Head to nakedwines.com/SOBAD, click Enter Voucher, and just put in my code SOBAD for both the code and the password for 6 bottles of wine for just $39.99 with shipping included. Are you kidding me? Shipping's included? That's $100 off your first 6 bottles of wine at nakedwines.com/SOBAD and use the code and password SOBAD for 6 bottles of wine at $39.99. Guys, this is a no-brainer. You got to do this. Folks, welcome back to SOBAD It's Good. This is great. We got this email a while back, and it's to celebrate the release of a new book. And this book is entitled So Drunk a Tooth's Gotta Go, Essays on Dating, Hacks, Breakups, Traveling, Comedy, the Gig Economy, and more. And I really enjoyed this. It's out on Amazon right now.
Yesterday, yeah.
So it's already out, so you can get this on Amazon. She also is a pop culture aficionado. We might talk about some Love Island. We might talk about, just a myriad of things, because she also had a pop culture website where she talked to celebrities. So maybe I can get some advice. But we are celebrating the release of her book. We have the one and only Joy Alicia joining us for the first time. Joy, how are you?
I'm great because I'm a fan, and you're getting even sexier with your weight loss. Congrats!
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, but
it's really
I will
showing.
say I'm on this health journey, and we're about like a month and a half close into it. And it is, I'm hungry, Joy. I'm very hungry, which, by the way, you have a whole chapter in your book. It's entitled 10 Pounds in 3 Days, all about your journey over the years with health and weight loss, which I found very relatable. And I got very hungry while reading that chapter.
But you're looking good, and I love your impressions too. Your Britney impressions on the Valley. That is why I listened to your recap.
Joy, I like your podcast. I like your book, Joy. I can't do it. See, I got to warm into it.
I'm literally laughing. If I'm drinking something, I'm spitting it out. Like, I'm coughing. Like, it is just every single time. I'm like, you nail it. You sound like her, just like you sound like Jessie.
Well, you know what? I have an earpiece in when I'm recording those, I listen to the audio while I'm talking, so I can get like the voice inflection. Like if she goes down, I go down. But I've obviously exaggerated to a great extent. But listen, thankfully you like it. A lot of people hate it, so it's really good to have one. So, Joy, what actually? Listen, a book is a huge thing. What inspired you to put pen to paper and actually write this thing?
I always wanted to write a book. Until you write it, you don't know if you can. So I wanted to write one. I kind of thought it was impossible because it takes so long. And then you have multiple drafts. And my first editor is from HarperCollins. And I kind of dreaded every single email because it was basically like, this is garbage, this is trash, this is offensive, this has to go. You know what I mean?
What a great editor, by the way. That really that pumps you full of confidence.
I needed that though. I really needed her input. And then I had a second editor too. So 2 rounds of editing. People are dating all wrong, and I want to help people, but I also want people to be entertained.
And I think this book does both of those things, and you share a great deal about your own life, and you do not hold anything back. And it's not just, it is so many dating hacks, which there's a whole section on that, but it's also a lot about different things in your life. Obviously, the book starts off, you guys, with a chapter called Free Fall. And it really, I wrote a line down that I thought it stuck with me. It said, alcohol warps the truth and generates fake news, which I thought was a very fitting line because it's really the story of you having a binge drinking episode and getting so hammered on vodka that you go out, you fall down, and you lose a tooth.
Yes. Look at how I'm monetizing it. It's so crazy. Like,
so you're saying monetize your horror stories is a great first step in writing a book.
Yes, and I love that story. That's kind of why I made it the first chapter. And don't try this at home, okay?
No, it was interesting because I was thinking back, and you're like, you make a point of saying like, definitely not an alcoholic, not this. At most, I'll drink 1 or 2. But you were feeling it. You were up at your friend's party, and I was thinking about those moments where you just feel so free when you get a couple shots back and you're like, oh my God, I'm amazing. And then it just takes that really harsh turn. I've never lost a tooth, but I'm sure I've come close.
It might happen. You don't know. It might happen.
Have we ever found the tooth?
That is long gone. That is gone. Yes.
Because didn't you end up going to the hospital?
No, because I don't want to give the story away, but no, the tooth is gone.
Okay, the tooth is gone. Yes. But this really kicks off the book to kind of show you what you're in store for, and it takes you through your stand-up comedy days, or I think you're still doing stand-up comedy. But that was another thing where I was like in such I I was like, oh my God, you talk about a time where you really bombed so hard on stage. And I've had one of those, and it was the last time I did stand-up comedy. Like it had been going good, and then I did this one show where everything went wrong. And even you said in the book, you weren't playing to the right crowd that would actually get your humor to begin with. But I was like, oh my God, and my body just turned to water. It was like everything slowed down, and I got wrapped up in the microphone cord on the way out, so I couldn't escape the cord.
Wow. So literally you were kind of stuck. Yeah, I mean, it happens. It comes with the territory. You have a podcast now. You're a podcaster.
Yeah. But see, so. I don't like, I only, I'll read negative comments, but other than that, you do not get that like visceral reaction from a crowd where, the first time you did stand up, you killed and you did great. And that's immediate feedback until you bomb.
It is, and the bombing happens. Every comic talks about the bombing happens, so it comes with it,
I mean, how do we push ourselves past these really uncomfortable situations, whether it be stand-up, whether it be dating? What makes you want to get back on any horse? I always think like it's when I think about it, it's like it's so impossible to think that any of us are actually in relationships, because when you start thinking about it, it's so tough and so many things have to come together to actually have a successful relationship or anything in a life.
Well, I really want women to learn how to be more confident. I'm pretty passionate about that. I want women to become more confident, and I think nobody should ever say anything bad about themselves really out loud and to other people.
What about in your head? In your head, are you allowed to do it?
Of course, but I feel like, Ryan, I've listened to the podcast. You don't hype yourself up enough. Like,
no, Joy, like this is what, Joy, you're 1,000% right. Like, I will do everything in my power to not shout myself out. And so it's really interesting that you're like, no, shout yourself out, be confident. And I don't know what that is. I feel like that's such a gift if you have that, but so many of us don't. How do we get that?
I would sing a song every morning when I was a little girl. And I think everybody needs to like sing a song, listen to positive affirmations, have a gratitude journal. But it really begins with, if you're going to have the negative self-talk, but stop talking to people about things that are wrong with you, or things that are bad about you.
Well, there's nothing else to talk about, Joy. What else are we going to talk about? Are you?
Joy,
listen. This advice is towards women. This has
nothing
to do.
It's for you too. You need to say I have some of the, I have really pretty blue eyes. I have a head of hair when everybody else's hairline is receding. You have things to be excited and happy about.
Yeah, you're totally right. It's just such a thing that I've built into my head since I was a little kid, and I don't know if I'm going to be. Just to think now I have to sing a song every day just frightens the crap out of me. But if it works for you, I'll try it. So when you actually start working on this book, obviously it probably starts with the dating section and advice that you can give. And I was wondering, for you, why do you think you are a person that can give advice to people about dating?
I know this is the perfect question, because this is the question that everybody will have, because I'm not married and because I'm not in a relationship. My DMs are open.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. You're not even in a relationship or married. By the way, the DMs are open, and she has a lot of history with dating, but why? What gives you this power that you think you can actually help people?
Well, basically, we don't say somebody can't cook because they don't have a restaurant. We don't say somebody does not have any talent just because they're a football player without a ring. We don't say somebody cannot act because they don't have an Oscar. And it's strange to me that the only marker of success is somebody being married, as far as helping people with dating. I'm not trying to be a relationship coach or a dating coach. I am not that. I am trying to help people specifically on the apps to get to the first date that can then lead to more dates. So I'm not a therapist. I'm not a dating coach. I'm not a relationship expert. I have spoken to thousands of people about what I wrote about. So I'm not just like, these are not just my opinions.
Yeah.
These are thousands of people's stories. Whether those people were passengers, friends, my family is huge, both sides. So this is really about my experiences and everybody else's experiences. And the theme is, you need to know who you're going out with. These apps are created for us to match with people based on physical attraction. But physical attraction is not enough. It doesn't mean you're going to have a good first date. It doesn't mean you're going to have a good partner. Like, I would have swiped right on Jeffrey Dahmer.
Well, yeah, by the way, Jeffrey Dahmer, you know, if you take the killing, like all of that aside, he was like kind of a handsome guy, right?
I would have swiped right on him. I would have gone home with Scott Peterson. Like, that just would have happened.
You would have never gone anywhere else after that. I mean, you might not have survived.
Exactly.
So.
That would have been the final date. But I mean, but with Jeffrey Dahmer, at least in Monsters, it seems that he's just so weird. So if I spoke to him, like when he talks, if I spoke to him on the phone, I wouldn't have met up with him. So,
well, I will, because in the book, you talk about this a couple of different times. You have a real thing with people's voices. You talked about one guy, his voice was too, I think, soft. One voice, you're like, was really, so you're saying, hop on a phone call before you meet any of these people.
It's honestly, it's to ensure that you're not wasting your time. Like, just dating apps are not, you're not just supposed to meet random people. Like, if you would not go to a job interview where you didn't know what the job was, when you meet up with somebody you haven't spoken to, that's what you're doing. You're going and you're meeting up with someone and it's completely unknown. And you might as well find out as much as you can first so that you're not wasting your time. I only have good first dates.
do you have good second and third dates?
Absolutely. Like, I love that you asked that question. I love it. You're like, oh, Joy, nobody wants to have a second date.
No, I'm like, these are like, the other thing I've noticed sometimes, a phenomenon of people, they are like, they love dating. They're like, I love just to go out and meet people, but it's almost like a numbers thing where they're like, I give great first date, and then they don't want to continue further than that. And how do you build any sort of momentum? But back to like the beginning, you say be on a couple of apps, right? Or is there one in particular that you think, you know, like, is it like a pair of shoes that fit really well? Like, how does one...
Can you repeat your question? I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. I said, how does one find the best dating app? Is it like one size fits all? When I was on the dating apps, I was on, I think, Tinder and Hinge. Those were the two. And I way preferred Hinge than Tinder. How does one find the right dating app for them? What is your recommendation?
So I don't want to name drop it actually, but anyways, I don't like certain apps and I prefer other apps. So everybody needs to find out what works for them. Like the apps that I hate, people are married off of those apps and in relationships off of those apps.
Christian Mingle, Farmers Only.
Yes, like people I know. So I don't want to like name drop. It's just whatever you
can name drop, Joy. We encourage name dropping here on this show.
I love name dropping, but the thing is, I'm still on these apps. That's the only reason why.
Are you trying not to say Raya? Because Raya is the one I hear is for like.
Raya loves to kick people off when they mention it.
Famous, successful people are on there, and they're you can't go. Well, the other thing I see on TikTok now is like, I'll see people like screenshotting somebody's profile and then making a whole TikTok about it. And I was like, damn, that's brutal.
Yeah. I've done that. But no, I don't like show. I don't show who they like their face. It's more what their bio is. You know?
I mean, how does when you put out information, what was the thing you had said? Well, I mean, you had a lot of advice in the dating section alone, but like in terms of presenting yourself online, what is that maneuver of how encouraging are you to be brutally honest about not only your pictures, but about describing yourself?
Well, you're saying this, I think, because you read my going catfishing chapter. I feel like that's why you're
okay, so she has a whole chapter on catfishing, you guys, which I do love that I think coins a term here. What was it? Kitten fishing. What is kitten fishing?
Kitten fishing is when you're using hotter photos of yourself, whereas catfishing is somebody else's photos. So it could be photos that are 5+ years old. It could be photos where you're smaller. It could be photos where you have hair and then you're a guy who doesn't have hair today.
So kitten fishing is not as egregious as catfishing, where you are making up that you are a completely different person. You actually bring up the show Catfish with Nev Schulman, and I think we've all seen like at least an episode of Catfish. But kitten fishing,
Hotter like, photos of yourself.
Hotter photos of yourself. But then what is... I mean, don't we then get this into this weird... You also used the example of, what was her name, Chelsea on Love is Blind, when she told everybody, she told the guy that she looked like Megan Fox when he asked what kind of celebrity she looked like. And she knew she didn't look like Megan Fox. You pointed out she had a completely different body type, a different face. And what is that like just a deep insecurity about wanting people to be more attracted to us before they meet us?
You want to cast the widest net. And that is why men like to lie about their height. I mean, this goes, men lie about their height, women lie about their age and their weight. So you want to cast the widest net.
Well, the other thing that you talked about too is, and I think they should make this on all dating apps, is you should have a section where it actually tells you what date they got out of their last relationship, because you made a point.
Say that in the book. Is that your idea?
That was my idea, because my idea was based off of you talking about that, you'll get people that are trying to replace somebody they just lost. And, like you are that thing to kind of fill their emptiness. And that usually doesn't start the relationship off on a good footing.
You're a rebound. You're a rebound. So it's not going to work. It's doomed. Most of the time it's doomed. That's really interesting. But see, Ryan, that idea is genius, but let's be real. People would be lying, right? Right?
Well, so it's like all mind games then. Like when you're going on these apps, you're already then in a minefield of not only trying to meet a new person, but also trying to maneuver through people's lies and insecurities and what has happened previously in their dating history, which you can't get from a dating profile, right?
Well, you have to talk to people. I'm not exaggerating when I say I'm not so sure I would be here and be able to talk to you right now if I didn't vet the people that I vetted and then didn't go on a date with. Like, I've talked to a guy who said if I do anything he doesn't like, he's going to slap the shit out of me.
What?
Talked to a guy who basically said, well, not basically, he did say he will never, ever use any form of protection, which is obviously, problematic to say the least. And I've just spoken to people who are dangerous, or just there's no personality match. There's nothing about them like that I like. So I just don't know what could have happened and what would have happened. So it's really safety first, and it's just you're not wasting your time.
Yeah, and by the way, the safety aspect of this, there's like, I'm joking around, but there's no jokes about that. Like, that's a very serious thing, and obviously women especially have to be so stringent in talking to men in general.
And gay men too.
Yeah. So when you're vetting somebody, like, what are the steps that you go through when you're going on these apps and somebody likes your profile or swipes on you or whatever? What are those things that all of a sudden, like, what are you looking for? Are you looking to get on a phone call immediately? What are the questions that you ask?
Oh, I'm asking them, like, when was their last relationship? When was their last date? And I mentioned that in the book. I ask some questions to determine if I want to talk to them on the phone.
Yeah.
And then I also explain what I ask on the phone.
And you say also, in terms of like breakups and former relationships, the dumper is the person who quit the job and the dumpy is the one who got fired, which I thought was a very interesting way to look at a relationship, is getting fired from a job. And that's sometimes how it feels like. So you have like this list of questions, you want to meet with the person, and then on a first date, how quickly into the date do you know if there's any sort of chemistry?
I'm basically love is blinding it. Like, let's be real. Like, I'm forming connections before the first date. And so I don't have bad first dates. I just don't. Like if I don't follow my own advice, I might have a bad date, but I follow my own advice, mostly.
But that's through years of trial and error, right? Like you had to work up to the point where you're at now.
Yes. So I only have good first dates, right? I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know what you want me to say.
No, you can say anything. I mean, like, but I'm trying to think is like, then if you have all good first dates, how do you know what actually qualifies for a second date?
Well, some people will say it during the date, right?
Yeah.
But if we're vibing and we might go somewhere after where we met, so we figure it out. We figure it out. And then it's just, they have to keep being who I want them to be and who they presented themselves to be. And then I'll decide if I want to keep seeing them and vice versa. It's hard. You're competing with people, whether you're on the apps or not. Every guy that I've met out in the wild has all been on the apps as well. So people really romanticize meeting people offline, but those people are also on the apps.
Yeah, that's the other thing is that people are like, oh, I want to make a genuine connection. I want to be out in the wild. And you're saying, oh, those people are on the apps still. Like even if you meet somebody in the wild, they're on the apps. In fact, one of the people that you, when you talk to them over the phone, I think you were like, you asked that question, when's the last date? You were like, oh, it was like, how many dates are you going to go on this weekend? And he was like, oh, a couple. Like you just point blank asked because it was your intuition.
Because I was writing the book and I was like, let me just ask this question. And he was like, yeah, I'm going on a third date this weekend. He sounded like Mickey Mouse to me. It was over. It was done.
Hi, Joy. I'm going on a third date this week. Well, did you tell any of these guys that you were dating while writing the book that you were like, hey, this didn't work out, but this is going to make this is good info for my book?
No. Like, sorry to be so repetitious. I mean, I just feel that my personal life is not for to this level is not for these guys.
Yeah.
I have talked to them. I'm writing a book. I'm coming out with a book. It ends there. That's all they need to know, honestly.
Well, I mean, speaking of Brittany Cartwright, she is obviously single and ready to mingle. And unfortunately, Jax Taylor is as well. Jax, I think, is like a perfect example of, I'm curious if Jax is on any of the dating apps. And I'm curious what lies Jax would say in his profile. And like, there's like a mountain of evidence against Jax already if anybody were just to do a cursory search online. But what is the best... Besides being famous, how would Jax be able to go on a date with you through an app?
Well, Jax is handsome. I mean,
I know he's handsome, but he's a socio. This is Jeffrey Dahmer all over again.
Come on, Ryan. You're the one who said he sent you a DM. We're not gonna go there right now.
He didn't send me a DM trying to hook up with me. He sent me a DM saying that he's taken a beating in the press, which he is. But I think he's a great example of there's a lot of men out there like Jackson, to your point in the book, is that he seems to manipulate the truth a lot. And I'm curious, as he moves forward in his single era, what that's going to look like and what women should be prepared for if they meet a Jax out there on the apps.
So, I mean, Jax is handsome, so I would have swiped on Jax.
So first off, you really are saying looks do matter.
I teach people how to not focus on looks and how to focus on compatibility, but it does start with looks. So I would have swiped on Jax. But me and Jax, we would never go on a first date because I don't think we could have a conversation. I've watched his whole reality TV career and I don't think we could have a conversation because I just don't see what we have in common. But, Ryan, as you know, there are women who will accept anyone and anything. Jax will be fine. So Jax has no reason to lie on the app.
I know Jax will be fine. I'm worried about the women that are out there of encountering a Jax in the wild, of a man who's saying all the right things, but underneath there are a lot of ulterior motives. And I think, I was just thinking about it's very different how how men and women obviously interact in the dating world. And to me, like, what are the differences that you've noticed of like men are always doing this? They're going to lie about their height. They're going to say this. What are the common tropes that men in dating usually fall into?
They're trying to hook up and they're not saying that.
That's it exact. See, I don't wait, Joy, do you watch Summer House? You probably do. No,
I don't. And I'm
okay.
so sorry.
No, you means you care for your mental health. I like that. But there's two guys, Jesse and Wes, that are like on their second season. And the thing is, they're young dudes and they pretend like they want to be in relationships. But the whole thing is they just want to have sex, and they like wrap it up in all of these like, no, I care about her. I think like, and it's like, no, you just want to have sex. And you're saying like, that's really the majority of men on these apps. They're wanting to have sex.
That is so, yes, that is, I could kind of say across the board. I don't care. Like, I'm going to put everybody in that box. That's something that all men are doing. And so as women, and a lot of people are married off of one night stands or in relationships off of it. I don't advise it whatsoever. But if, people hook up, it might become something more. But yes, all men are trying to get laid, point blank, period. I saw this like in a store one time. It was like a pillow, and I think it was a pillow. It said, it's not a one night stand, it's an audition. So it's like,
that's actually that's a Craig Conover Sewing Down South, you guys. I'm sure he has a pillow that says where do they sell this pillow, Joy? Is this at like Home Goods?
I saw it a long time ago in one of those like Spencer type of stores.
Oh my God, yeah, Spencer's Gifts. That's where they should sell that pillow. That's crazy.
But yeah, so, I think all men are trying to hook up, and I think all women are trying to be in relationships sometimes, and both people are just not being honest about that.
So brutal honesty from men, which we're probably never going to get, but that's like, so women have to try to maneuver around getting hit with a bunch of untruths, because at the end of the day, they mostly just want to hook up immediately.
They really do. I mean, that's why there's dick pics, right? It's from people you haven't even met.
Yeah, well, that's what that was shocking to me. Like, I have so many friends that are girls, and I think it was years ago, and we were talking, and it was like every girl had like, they're like, oh, I have tons of dick pics, and I was shocked by that. Like, they'll send me a dick pic before I even meet them, before I even, like, within 10 minutes of like talking with them on an app. And I just didn't know the prevalence of dick pics out there. Is it still the epidemic that I was told it was 5 years ago?
It's not, but it's always going to be something that some people gravitate towards. I mean, some men will do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how do you not laugh? Like go, and then kind of be like, oh, that's a little weird off the bat.
Well, the last person who sent me a dick pic, he said, do you want me to send you a dick pic? And I said, yes. Like I wasn't
going consent is good. That's good.
And so, but I said, yes, but I am sending it to my friends so they could tell me what they think.
I do want to point out this book has no pictures of the dicks. If anybody is getting the book, do not expect any sort of photographic evidence of what she says. But that's what I would assume. Like the dicks then are just shown to everybody's friends.
It is 100%. And I told him that, and he still sent it, or sent the photos. So, I mean, some people send them. I don't know. I mean, if I were a man like who looked a certain way, I would send them too. It's just funny when it's a baby carrot and you're like, why did you send this?
Yeah, well, speaking of that, I mean, speaking of kitten fishing, we need like a glamour shots for dick pics where we gussy it up, we light it well, we potentially elongate or girth,
I have
whatever.
Been dick fished before. I don't know if that's a word.
Wait. We just invented a word. What is dick fishing?
I just made it up. But I have been dick fish. Like there was a guy who sent me photos, and that was not his. I don't
and
know.
Joy, how do you know that wasn't his?
No, I know. Right? It wasn't. The photos it didn't align with what it didn't align. And I never said anything because that's kind of sad,
That's good of you. You also talk about the concept of ghosting, and you know, I mean, obviously, I think the audience knows what ghosting is. It's, you know, when you don't show up for a date, when you actually go to a date, see the person, skip, never talk to them again. What is your definition of ghosting?
Ghosting is, yeah, when somebody is not responding to your texts, your messages, your calls, social media, however you reach out, they're not responding. So they're not telling you yes or no. They're saying absolutely nothing.
And you said even the people that hate to be ghosted will sometimes ghost as well. Like it doesn't stop them from ghosting. Like everybody has ghosted at one time. Would you think?
I don't know. I don't know, but I just want to clarify. I don't think it's ghosting after a first date.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Like if two people go on a date, I don't think it's ghosting if one of them reaches out and the other doesn't respond. I mean, it is in a literal sense, but you shouldn't be tripping. I'm sorry.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's like basic human decency, but also the mind is such a battlefield that you don't know what the mental gymnastics people do in these situations and what they think about, and that they just can't bear to actually tell you that they don't like you. So they just block and move on.
I don't think I don't know if they block, I don't really block people. Like some, an acquaintance of mine, he keeps everybody's number. He goes, I want to know who's contacting me. And I'm the same. Like I will change people's names in my phone to like a-hole, whatever it is, like Big Dick Daniel, like whatever I want to change it to, but
Dick Fish Donnie.
Yeah, so like but I'm just saying, if you go on one date with someone, you don't owe them anything. Honestly, it's not the kind thing to do. I just don't think it's a big deal if somebody doesn't respond to your texts or calls or whatever after one date.
Now, my friend LaKendra just told this story the other day where she went out and was enjoying like a drink with this gentleman. The guy ordered a second drink, went to the bathroom, and then just left her with the bill. Can you believe that?
Well, how much was the bill? Like, I want to know how pissed I should be. Like,
first off, what are your views? Should the man pay for the first date?
You're trying to get me in trouble.
I'm trying to get your actual opinion. Like, there's nothing, you're not going to be fired by like the Men Association of California.
You're trying to get me in trouble, but I'm a fan, so that's totally fine. I am not paying for a first date. I'm not paying for any dates until we're further along. I've like talked to women about this, and like, cause this one girl, she was like, well, I'm a feminist. Okay, be a feminist if you want. There's nothing wrong with being a feminist, but there's just no reason to pay on a first date. I just think it's pathetic of a woman to do.
Well, I think it's kind of pathetic that dude ordered another round and then skipped town and didn't let her know he was.
Well,
leaving.
She needs revenge. Like she needs to post his photo, whatever app she found him on, say stay away. She needs to make it known and just. Like, I'm sorry. The way how I would text him, I'd be rage texting. And I would be using another number. Girls, use another number.
Oh, we need to set up a separate number. So you'd Katie Maloney rage text this man.
Yeah, but you know what? My app that I like to use, it's Text Now. And it's free.
What is Text Now?
It's just a fake number app. They have different ones. So
you text from a fake number going, what the F did you do?
Because if they block me and I need them to see that I'm pissed, I'm going to use a different number. So download Text Now or something else and get your message out to the person who needs to read it.
Very smart. Also, you say that nudes are okay, but no nudes with your face.
I mean, people are going to do what they want, but if you want to have to worry about revenge porn, go ahead and show your face in your photos. If you don't want to worry, don't show your face.
Well, but that's a thing that that's a very real thing. People have to be aware that these things actually exist. And just like, these things get passed around. So I thought that was kind of an interesting little part of it. You also take us through kind of, I think, a world tour. You literally go overseas and you go like I think you went to every country at some point. And what
Definitely
was
not.
well, definitely not. But you went to a lot of countries and had all of these experiences in every country. What is traveling the world or traveling to all these different countries? What did it teach you, and what did it teach you about relationships or sex in general?
Well, Americans are so repressed, right? Versus Europeans. They're liberated. They're very loose and liberated, but as an American, they're going to like you because you're different. So, as a Black woman, they're going to like you because you're Black / quote unquote exotic. Nobody has used that word with me, but I'm just saying. But even for yourself, you're American, so you're different. You have a different accent. That alone makes you different. So you're going to be sought after. So everybody should go because it's going to be an esteem boost to have all these people interested in you that are not interested in you in America.
Yeah, you said, I mean, you said you cleaned up. You did very well overseas.
Well, the original chapter of the title was Beyonce in Europe.
I thought it would be called Starboy. You were talking about how much you love the Starboy album by The Weeknd.
I mean, okay, that's embarrassing, but initially it was called,
Joy, you wrote it. I'm not revealing secrets.
I'm getting embarrassed because of what I wrote about in that section. But yeah, so basically it's good for people to go and be sought after. And as far as relationships, some cultures, they really, really care about relationships and marriage more than Americans. And it's just good. People just have to go and experience it like now. Don't wait.
You're a fan of reality television, like obviously I am. And you actually watched a couple of episodes of Love Island just for me. And I was wondering, what can reality television and dating on reality television, can that teach us anything? Or is it all stuff that we just have to throw out the window because it's reality television?
One of the main reasons why I watch reality TV is to see the relationships. With Love Island, I didn't know how many people had so many big followings until you said it on one of your recent episodes.
Yeah, it was weird.
So I don't know. Like Love Island is a bad example as far as relationships, but Love is Blind is a better example where it's people forming connections, talking about the important topics before they get into an actual relationship as far as like seeing each other after the wall. So I think Love is Blind is kind of the perfect, one of the best models of what we should do. Talk to people. It's outlined in my dating hacks chapter. What's the point of me meeting up with people whose beliefs are the opposite of mine? Like, it's pointless.
Yeah. How long do you think it really takes to get to know somebody?
You know what? It takes as long as you see them being completely psychotic. As long as it's like it takes for the like deal breaker stuff to come out. But seriously, I believe it takes years.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine so. And how much of it because I found myself in relationship, like you're so affected by previous relationships and you have to get over so much and get comfortable. And then, having to deal with yourself within, I mean, it's like just a whole minefield. Is that how much do you run into of people that are taking all of their past hurts and heartbreaks and bringing that into the dating field?
Well, that's why, honestly, Ryan, everybody needs to be dating in their 20s, in their teens and 20s, because people are not as damaged.
Yeah.
So, like, it gets a little impossible.
Yeah, I mean, I had a bit of arrested development because I didn't date in my 20s at all. Yeah. And like, it was one of those things you're like, oh, now I get why people said that, because, you're like, oh, I am completely damaged. I got that. But it does make sense. It's like, do you have, this is another Summer House thing, but there's a character on there, Lindsay, who wrote a very specific kind of checklist for herself. Like, got to be married by this age, got to have a kid by this age, put so much pressure on not only herself, but any other partner that was with her. Is checklists and all of that stuff for men or women, is that a waste of time in your opinion? Or are you somebody that sets goals like that?
That's a really hard question because I think there's nothing wrong with a checklist because you'll find out like how delusional you are, right? Like you will find that out really quickly. There's nothing wrong with that, but I also think we need to be realistic about what we bring to the table. Like, don't expect a 10 if you're a 2 or a 4. Don't expect somebody wealthy if you make minimum wage. Like, if you're a teenager, that'll work if you're a hot teenage girl. But so being realistic is important, and I don't think we want to be realistic. I think it's fun to be delusional.
So you think a lot of dating is living in delusion in a sense, or especially on the apps at first?
A lot of women, their standards are too high, but men, like for every one woman who's like that, there's probably 80 men like that. It's pretty pathetic. It's pretty pathetic just wanting somebody to have everything you don't have. Right? So it's one thing to want your equal, it's another to put your bar so high.
Yeah, no, I mean, the other thing with Love Island I think is kind of ridiculous is that I notice the women, they throw any sort of self-worth out the window because they're just wanting these dorks to like them so much that they forget that they're actually, an actual person with, and I find the women on Love Island actually have more interesting conversations with each other than the men who are just kind of like, yeah, cool, bro. And I don't understand that phenomenon. I've never understood that women seem to be willing to accept so little. And then when they get that little nugget, they think, oh my God, he's amazing. Is that just years and decades and eons of like the patriarchy?
I think a lot of these guys are good in bed. Like Ryan, I don't think you know what it's like. I don't think you know what it's like to be a woman. Like if a guy is good in bed, we're like, he's my God, he's my Jesus. I worship him. Like he doesn't have to work. Like quit your job. So I think that's a big part of it, honestly. And then especially if somebody's easy on the eyes, like Jeremiah, he just looks like Shamar Moore.
Yeah, he does. Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. So Jeremiah is a guy on Love Island USA, and he's a very attractive dude. But you're right, he looks like a young version of Shamar Moore from Criminal Minds.
He is Shamar Moore. Like it's very freakish. So like Jeremiah, Ace is also very cute. I find Nick cute, even though you were hating on Nick. But
well, Nick has, by the way, Nick has now he has like a huge outbreak. He has a huge pimple on his face. Nobody's given him a pimple patch at all. And I just think he seems like he's dumb as rocks.
You know what? I didn't think he was dumb until he didn't understand the whole I couldn't care less or I wouldn't want anything less or whatever he said, that he didn't understand that. I was like, that's really bad. But I mean, I think, I don't know. So like, that's why a lot of women will accept crumbs, is because like of the physical like connection and attraction. But it's complicated. Like it's hard to find somebody halfway decent.
Yeah.
But then I look at somebody like a Tom Sandoval and I'm like, yeah, like, she could have done better. You look at some like Ariana, like you look at some people and you're like, they could have done better. I can't really excuse that,
but I kind of understand. Like, I think there's something like Tom Sandoval was always so like positive and energetic and all that, which I think, you can see where that is very attractive to some people, and if he didn't turn out to do the things he did, it would be a completely different story. But here you are, you said you'd swipe right on Jax. You said you would, because Jax is good looking. If you didn't know who Jax was, he would be an easy swipe for you.
He is good looking. Like, Ryan, can you say that he's good looking? I feel like you're like, what? Why would you swipe on him?
No. I know. I've said I'm not joking. He is a good looking dude. I totally agree with that. It's just that we know so much about him. So if somebody were to go in completely cold, not knowing anything about Jax, you would probably immediately swipe right.
Yeah. And I just honestly, like us or women, we figure it out. Not all of us are around as long as Brittany was, but we figure it out. It's hard to choose who's going to be good in the long run or not. I mean, a good indicator or something that's really helpful is a man who's in therapy. So if he's not currently in therapy, at least if he's been to therapy, that says a lot about his emotional intelligence usually. So that's kind of a good way to distinguish who might be a good partner. Whereas Jax, I cannot believe all of the blaming he's doing still.
Yeah.
Still, wasn't he doing so much blaming the entire
Oh,
this last after
oh,
show, after
he's
show.
still doing it, man, and he's still
Yeah.
like lying through his teeth, and then they have like like they literally show him lying and then back it up with Brittany telling the truth, and I'm just like, oh my god, he's like lying so easily on camera, knowing that we're all going to watch it and poke holes in it, and I just wonder like that is so wildly dark that I don't understand at this point of like why not just radical honesty at this point.
I think people who lie a lot excessively do not remember what's true and what's not. I just personally think that. So
Oh,
it's
that's
all
interesting.
like,
So they lie so much that they even don't even keep track of their lies.
they believe what they're saying. Like, they believe whatever they say, honestly,
Yeah.
and you can't really convince them.
Well, Jack just told us last week he makes $1 million on his podcast, and I'm like, are you out of your mind? I was like, I've charted higher than their podcast. I think the last like couple of weeks, I'm nowhere near $1 million. Are you?
But as you
gotta be a
said,
lie.
he's a celebrity. You did say that.
Well, celebrity, but still, I mean, anyway,
I'm
anyways,
just saying, I think he might get certain ad rates.
yes. There's a chance. They know you're right. But like, if you're a brand, would you want your brand to be represented by Jax Taylor?
These brands don't watch the show.
No, you know what? I actually agree with you. That's what I said. Like, even for people like Janet on the Valley, and people are like, you know, is it worth it? Like, you're talk shit on so much, but I'm like, most people, like, they just see that you're on TV, and that's good enough for them.
Yes.
Have you ever dated anybody that has like a large following, or like, is it any different when somebody has like, you know, an interesting relationship with social media?
Well, the last person that I was involved with is kind of famous-ish.
It's Jax Taylor, isn't it?
Saying that, I feel like an asshole, huh?
It's Jax Taylor, isn't it?
I'm not even gonna go with that joke. Like, I'm not gonna go with that joke at all.
But you were saying the last gentleman was sort of known in some way.
Yeah. So basically, he didn't have social media. He was like, because of who I am, I can't have social media. So,
Oh, that's good, actually, right?
I mean, I guess. I didn't really care.
I hear so many people like, you know, talk about somebody's social media usage, or, you know, like, oh, they're always on their phone. Like, what is your opinion about a man that is always on their phone, or they're tweeting, or they're Instagramming?
You know, my first boyfriend cheated on me, and that taught me that, you know, people are going to cheat if they want to cheat. I've never like used that as a reason to be worried or paranoid or scared or fearful. I just don't care. I don't have it in me. I'm not Huda on Love Island. So, you know, I don't need to be all territorial. It's not that serious to me. But yeah, I mean, I guess it is like with this person, I didn't care that he didn't have social media because I felt like he was kind of so sought after anyways that like it's not like he doesn't have his options. But yeah, I mean, if you're supposed to trust someone and get over yourself and not spend all of your time being paranoid and worried.
Yeah. No, I mean, that would be the hope, right? Is that you're
Yeah.
not just miserable the entire time.
Yeah.
When is the next date you're going on?
Look at Ryan again. No, I came on Jerry Springer.
No, listen, this is what I do. I mean, I read the book. I mean, like, you obviously say you're killing it with the first dates. When is the next first date? Like, how, you know, and by the way, do you suggest for women to take time in between their dates with people?
Have as many dates in one day as you can if that's what you want to do. Like, don't waste your outfit. I've not been dating. I've been focused on the book. But yeah, so there's no dates planned.
Wow, so you're on pause right now.
Somebody has to be worth it. I spoke to somebody like last week and he never reached out again. It was so funny. He kind of was like Dakota on Mormon Wives, where like he didn't have much to say, One of the reasons why I vet people too is if you're dumb, if you can't form a sentence, I'm not meeting you. Like there's no point, right? So yeah, I'm focused on the book, and but I do want to write about that person I just told you about, the last person I was involved with.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta keep the content churning. I mean, you can't be on pause right now. This is like the most important time to be out there. You talked about the secret lives of Mormon wives, and I think that's a really interesting case study in relationships and dating, but it's very different than I wonder how similar it is to everyday women's experiences, what these Mormon wives are going through, because they live in such a somewhat repressed society that they have grown up in and around. Like, what was your view on that series?
I feel like these Mormon wives, they have like a porn star aesthetic, like the fake boobs, the fake hair, the fake nails.
Yeah, did you see old pictures of Demi? Like, she looked completely different.
I think I saw like one. I mean, even the shaking their asses on camera, that's also a porn star thing to do. And their bodies are all good. So they really have a certain look, like they're trying to satisfy, like they're doing all this for the
They're trying to satisfy the male gaze. Yeah.
And so that's kind of disturbing, but like, honestly, I don't trust Taylor to make good decisions. I'm sorry. Like, going out with Dakota and all of that, I don't trust it. And then she's always putting out TikToks about how, they're done. She has like so many different dumb TikToks about how they're not dating. I'm like, I don't care. But with the show, that truth box, it's the life ruining box.
Yeah, you guys, if you haven't watched the show, this is a producer thing, obviously, but they brought out like a truth box where like you ask like really tough questions, and it's great because it like inspires like good television, but it's a nasty piece of work.
I want it on every show, don't you?
No, by the way, I will say, I think Mormon Wives actually does that better than other like kind of Bravo shows, when I'm like, oh, this is so forced, or this is a game. For some reason, I was like, oh, or they even did this thing on the second season where they made everybody take a pregnancy test. And that was like put up like by the producers as well, because the producers knew that somebody was pregnant and didn't want to talk about it. And I was like, that is nasty as hell, but it worked on that show. And I feel like Bravo sometimes is very clunky about these things and these games, whereas Mormon Wives did it great.
Do you think Jesse or Demi slept with Marciano, or are you afraid to say?
I don't think, well, listen, it's very funny about that, because Marciano reached out to me after this, and I was going to have him on, and then it got Hulu or Disney, I don't know, it got the kibosh got put on it. But I'm very curious, because I interviewed some of the Mormon wives, and I know this plays out a little bit in season 3. So I think they, hopefully I'll talk to him at some point, because he definitely has a story to tell. I don't think they slept together. I mean, I do, you hear more and more that he definitely did make out with Jesse. And Sheena told this story on her podcast. So Sheena, of course, like in the middle of everything, told this story about like, that Marciano went back to Jesse's room after they had gotten back to Sheena's, and then he drove off and went back to Jesse's. And so something happened that night. Now with the Demi thing, I don't think there was enough physical time to have any sort of like hookup situation, but I do think that they FaceTimed and texted and stuff like that.
It just feels like Scandival 2.0. It feels like one of like these women have like risked it all for someone like that is very disturbing to me. Like Marciano,
I mean, if you think about it from like the female perspective, if like all of a sudden, like you're in this kind of low level, or I mean, a little bit of a higher level of fame all of a sudden, and you're getting all of these opportunities and all of these flashy things. And it's like, it's really exciting at first, I would imagine, before the reality of it sets in. And I would imagine you're bound to make some huge mistakes, but unfortunately they're going to have real life consequences, and it's going to play out on TV, and we're all going to see it.
Do you know when season 3 is coming?
I don't, I know I think they're pretty much done filming it. So I think hopefully by the end of summer, but I don't know. I don't have an exact date yet, but I think So Bad It's Good will be featured on it for one episode. So
Okay.
that's because they had the camera crew there
Hmm.
and they mic'd me up, but it'll probably be part of like a whole montage of them going on every show in the world, and I was just one of them. But I really like that show. I think it's actually really I don't know. I like that show. What is your take on these women and what they should be doing if you were to counsel them in their relationships?
I don't feel like Taylor should date. I feel like, or let me rephrase that. She needs a matchmaker. I don't think she's good at choosing who she should be with, right? But the rest of them are married, like, right? So I can't really comment on like how they would be on the apps. And then I do have some opinions about one of the wives, one of her marriages. But I just feel like because you're good friends with these, or because you're friendly with the cast, I shouldn't say it. So
No, you can say whatever you want. I'm not like these are,
I will just say like it's disturbing that Michaela went through what she went through and then just went straight into being a mother, a married mother. That's disturbing.
Yeah, I mean, like she got out, like the situation that was, just horrific, and she said she ended that at the age of, I think, 14 or something. And then by 16, she was pregnant and in a relationship. And that is just so young, and just so horrific. And that's why I'm so happy that she felt free enough to share that with people, because that's such a huge thing. And that's what I think is interesting about the show, is that all of these women have like very specific trauma, but you see them still making TikToks and thriving in a sense and having families. And you just wonder of like, God, there's so much work to have to try to deal with the trauma that you experienced at a very young age.
Yeah, I like Michaela, and like just how you explain things, it reminds me I'm happy for this cast. This is not like yeah.
Yeah, right now I'm happy. Like it'll be interesting to see what happens in years to come, because TV fame is different than online fame, and it can sometimes do really weird things to people. And then you don't want, it's like then these ladies are all going to be competing for a spot on Dancing with the Stars. And they're going to go into that reality show system where like, oh, I want to be on The Traitors. It'll be interesting to see when those kind of infighting starts happening that we've seen on other reality shows. Would you ever be a matchmaker? Have you set up a lot of people in your day?
Well, one of my friends is married and she met her husband through me. Outside of that, I would kill it, honestly. Like I know that sounds weird, but when I watch these shows, I feel like the girls are a 10 and the guy isn't, and not even like about looks. I feel like the girls are more mature and have more going for them. And I know you know that too. Like a lot of these shows, it's a mismatch. You see it like these people are unemployed on Love is Blind. Like they're literally unemployed with like a doctor. And you're like, okay.
That's the second book. By the way, that's the second book, Matchmaker. Joy Alicia, Matchmaker.
Honestly, when you told me that story about Diddy keeping his car running. Was it a spa?
Well, no. It was, I used to work at an acting studio way back in the day, and Diddy came in for a coaching. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was for like CSI Miami or something. And he had this huge SUV with security, and he kept it running the entire session. And I always thought that was so crazy. Oh, did I lose you?
I'm so sorry. My light came off. No, when you told that story, I feel like you have all these really good stories. And that should be your book.
Yeah, no, I don't, Joy, I don't need to lose my life for a book. Yeah, I'd be afraid I'd lose my life.
That's a good point, because I always thought I should.
Oh, wait, pull your mic back in. Yeah, there you go.
That's a good point. I always thought I should tell you should write about all that celebrity stuff that you witnessed.
Well, I will say, like, reading this book kind of did inspire me. I've wanted to, I've always had I have a bunch of different like chapter ideas and stuff like that, but you actually did it. And like I said, guys, the book is out now. Add this to your Amazon list. It's called So Drunk, A Tooth's Gotta Go, which is also the title of my forthcoming book. But it's essays on dating hacks, breakups, traveling, comedy, the gig economy, and more. And go support her. But also, I wanted to, before we let you go, you ran an entertainment website for a decade, and you used to interview celebrities. And you said you interviewed like Britney Spears and Harry Styles. Well, wait, what's the story there?
Yeah, I mean, that was at X Factor. So, I started it and then it just kind of, it did well within months. That doesn't happen anymore. Look how hard it is today to do.
Yeah, I was talking about that with Justin Sylvester yesterday. And this was after we finished the podcast, but we were just talking about like, it is so hard even for like, he's a host on E! News, and it's so hard in that environment because now everybody wants to do what he did back in the day on E! With Daily Pop, and like everything is so spread out, and now stars, they can't get enough work. So then they'll be like, hey, I'm Nick Lachey hosting Love is Blind all of a sudden.
Come on, I think they're fine as hosts. I heard you saying that they're not good hosts. I think they're fine. They've gotten better.
They've gotten better.
They have. You know how they really drop the ball sometimes with some seasons, but they've gotten better. But yeah, I mean, I used to do that, and as far as the current shows or whatever celebrities, I always liked the Vanderpump Rules cast. And I know you've talked to them yourself.
What was your toughest interview? Like, what was the one that was the hardest, or like they weren't giving you anything?
I did not like Max Greenfield at all.
Wait,
so as
Max
you can tell, I
who's
still
Max
don't like him.
Max
Greenfield is I forgot his name on New Girl, the kind of quirky one. He was also on the new Netflix show with Kate Hudson. He played her boyfriend. You know who I'm talking about now.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, like he was an asshole. So yeah. I mean, other people were, but yeah, he came to mind first.
Okay, so we're swiping left on Max Greenfield. We're not swiping absolutely right. And so as you leave us today, what are the things, I mean, obviously the book, but what are the things that you want people to know about your story and your book and why they should check this thing out?
Well, I think we need to stop like talking so poorly about apps and dating. Like, we're not doing ourselves any favors by saying it sucks, it's horrible, it's terrible. Yes, it can be a part-time job or feel like a full-time job, but there's no reason to have a bad date. There's just no reason for that. If you do the right things, you will not have bad first dates. So you could turn it all around. And I started working on this book years ago. It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. I feel like the money I put into it is enough for like a deposit on a house. So if you buy the book, if I sell enough copies, the first chapter of my next book will be about how I almost killed Mark Zuckerberg. This was like in 2017 in San Francisco.
Okay, well, let's, I don't want to be called to any kind of deposition or anything like that. So I'm excited.
I'm saying if you buy enough copies.
I know. I like, listen, that's
I see what you mean. You're like, don't say that.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to be interviewed on the stand. I'm like, yeah, then she talked about hurting Mark Zuckerberg. So it sounds like you have enough stories already for a second book. 100%. She's in witness protection right now, guys. So let's go get this book so we can find out what the deal with Mark Zuckerberg is and how he escaped Joy's clutches. I'm going to put all of Joy's information in the show notes, including a link to the book. So go check it out, go support. And it was great to meet you finally. I really appreciated your work, and I'm really proud of you.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I'm a big fan of your podcast, and you're funny on the podcast and today, as you can tell, and every day. So, Brian, you're the only one who actually didn't ignore me. When you're not A-list, everybody ignores you. And so I just want to let your listeners know that you're the only one. And
I will also give credit to Sandra, who helps me out, is that I don't see so many things, and I just saw something last night while I was looking in my email. I saw something from last year where I was like, oh my God, I didn't see this at all. And I was just like, I've left a wake of people that are probably pissed at me, but I actually saw this one, and that was thanks to Sandra, really. And I was happy. I was like, yeah, send me a book. And so I always want to support anybody doing anything cool, and this is cool. And so just congratulations.
Thank you, Ryan. You're just absolute best. It was so like, and you're so easy to talk to. I thought I was going to be like shaking the whole time, and you're so easy to talk to. And I appreciate
Oh my God, I'm a
you.
schmuck. You don't have to worry about me at all. Like it's all
You're not. Remember what I told
Oh, yeah,
you?
sorry. I'm amazing.
You
Of
need to
course,
say
you should be shaking. Yes, of course. And we're going to start singing every day, and you guys are going to sing along with me. We will talk to you next time, Joy.
Okay, thank you.